So this is an exclusive first look, would you say?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
so is the rum, which is another proof of my
well, you brought it up.
You've brought it up, so here we
my
go.
inability to stay on task. Because what I intended was that I would have 3 different styles of gin.
Right.
At least 3, but probably no more than 4. And so I have made, but not put in the market, a blackberry gin.
You want another glass? I've got some more glasses.
Thanks. I have made a blackberry gin, which has in the bottle has a beautiful Pinot Noir richness about.
I did see that on your website. The
look
text
of
for
it, and I'd like to take that a little bit further. I think it's worthwhile.
So tell us what's
my great ambition is to make an oyster gin.
Okay.
All right. There are others that have played along those lines with varying results, shall we say?
Yeah.
But that is, I mean, something along those lines would very much be in character for Lyttelton.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us the story behind this rum. Is this playing again into the naval history and character of Lyttelton?
Maybe.
What's the strength on that?
37.5.
Okay. All right. No, sorry for there was. I'm going to get to this nose, but tell us the story. What was your thinking behind it, and why? Why? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling to. This was kind of.
It doesn't have to have a story.
Nearly 2 years in the making, from start to finish, but it may be that it didn't need to be that long, but which I'll touch on shortly. But I don't know what triggered it in my mind. But again, it was how would you make rum? And how would you make it without putting it in a barrel?
Okay.
Yeah, there's no requirement. So yeah.
Because most rums, I think, are made using an ex-bourbon barrel. Because I think I'm right in saying the bourbon makers only use the barrel once.
Correct. Yep. Yes.
But again, space prevented me using barrels. Cost had something to do with it. But I didn't think it should necessarily make a difference. And I'd had a conversation with another guy in Nelson who I tracked down. His name escapes me because it's 3 or 4 years since we had any contact. But he used to. He's a barrel maker. Whatever.
Oh,
Cooper.
He's
a Cooper. And I had I tracked him down in Nelson, and I had a phone conversation with him, and I was telling him what I was thinking about barrels and the rum idea and whatnot. And he said, "Why would you spend money on a barrel, Peter?" And I said, "Well, I think you've got to." And no. What you need is the wood. The barrel wood. And he had this, I didn't fully understand it, but he had this idea that if you put, I guess he was talking about, large barrels, which when they're full, of course, are heavy. he said to me, you put it in a barrel, some of that liquid will never come in contact with the wood. I guess, unless you've got some way of turning the barrel, which someone working on their lonesome in a distillery probably hasn't got, short of something mechanical. So he said, I'll send you down some samples of wood, which he did use. I did do, and but I haven't actually used them. I read about a rum made in, a rum drink actually, rum-based drink which is popular in the Dominican Republic, and it's a drink called Mama Joanna, not marijuana, but Mama. It's very popular over there, so I understand. And they distill molasses and whatnot, and then they put it with this wood and go to brown. Oh, that's interesting. So I managed to track down a company in the Dominican Republic who had this wood for sale, and so I sent away quite an amount of money in the context of things to the Dominican Republic.
That sounds like a recipe.
And a few days later I thought, oh Peter, you're probably wasting your time, you're never going to see anything. And months went by, nearly 6 months, I think, possibly a bit longer now, can't remember. But at least 5 or 6 months went by, and one day I went out the front door, and here's this battered box sitting on the doorstep. And almost literally the only thing that was holding this cardboard box together were the stickers from MPI and Customs, as it had passed from desk to desk to desk, no one knowing what to do with it. So I had already concluded that I'm not going to see my money and I'm not going to see any wood. But bingo, here it was. And so I did the molasses and cane sugar and fermentation, pot still run, strip run, plus another one. And then I put it in something like that stainless steel vat over there, similar size, and I added this wood. I had no idea how much I needed to add, and I added other things that I read when I went to liquor stores and looked at rum labels and what things they mention, cinnamon and blah blah blah. But anyway, this wood turned it brown, beautiful, as you can see.
It's a beautiful, and the golden reddish.
The beauty of this wood is, with some further research, I've found that commonly it's used 5 times over before.
Right.
Does it start with an A? Sacked of its ability to.
Does it start with an A? Is that what it is?
No. It's like buying wood chips.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the bag that there's it's as though someone put sort of 1 to 2 inch round branches through a chipper. You know, on the coarsest result possible, and then it's got leaf in there, and it's got seeds in there, and all sorts of things. And then I added to some cinnamon stick and and cacao and other things, some honey again.
Is there some citrus in here?
Some orange zest.
Yeah.
Orange zest. And it was purely a hit and miss thing. And I locked it away and left it and got distracted by the gin and other things. And every now and again I'd look at it and think, should do something with that, bottle it, filter it and bottle it. And more time went by, and so eventually after 18 months, I bottled it. People say they quite enjoy it.
There's a lot going on in there.
What's also become apparent is that it has changed significantly in the bottle for the better.
Oh, really?
It's
So
gotten
my
better.
first nose is smoked barley sugar. Do you remember the barley sugar lollies that you used to get? It's a smoked barley sugar on the nose, but then you take that sip and it is classic orange and chocolate. You mentioning that you've added the cacao and the orange in there. Yes, like a beautiful dark chocolate with orange.
Yeah, that orange
cinnamon.
really shines for me in that. It's almost like having a cocktail, when you have like an old fashioned, you put some orange bitters in it. It sort of comes across like that for me. And there's a little bit of a sweetness for sure.
But again, and I do not have a sweet tooth at all. That's just, I'm far more savoury than I am sweet. And I think that's why I don't drink a lot of rum, is because a lot of rum does tend to be on the sweeter side. And so I'm really enjoying this because it does have some of those sweeter flavours, like the chocolate and this I can't get rid of the barley sugar note, but but again, I don't feel like I'm
definitely
drinking a cocktail.
Like the cinnamon kind of clovey sort of thing going on, and
when we first bottled it, it was the cinnamon was very pronounced, and that seems to have dissipated somewhat. I think that's been for the best. But my problem is that so it sat in the corner for 18 months before I bottled it, and that was about 6 months ago. I bottled it. So it's had 2 years. But what I don't know now, because I didn't do any stage by stage testing, I don't know. It could have been just as good after some time in the bottle. After 3 months. All I know, so really, so far as the future, I've got, the batch was about 40 bottles. I think there are about 30 left. Too small to put on the market, too small to spend money on labelling, really, unless you know Tom, a cheaper label maker than I own at the moment. So I've probably got to make another batch as a trial and do some progressive.
Do a second trial with testing this time.
And although I kept a careful record of what went in and in what quantities, along with the wood. Fortunately, I've still got some wood. And fortunately, you can apparently use it over and over again. Because I still wouldn't be confident about it arriving, a second wood arriving.
Take another chance on the Dominican Republic.
So if it is acceptable and people like it and want to buy it, then I suppose I might have found a way of making a half pint decent rum, or hopefully better than half pint decent, without a barrel.